All right, so I'm happy to announce Google Developer Student Clubs at Rowan University. Let me begin by asking, why are all of you here? Right? Are you students, entrepreneurs, programmers, problem solvers, developers? Well, this is a place for all of those people. It's a collaborative learning and development environment. Right? Let me begin by introducing myself. My name is Sarosh Khan. I'm pursuing a master's in computer science and a bachelor's in math. I also write in my spare time. One of my core officers is Mark Videka. He runs the ACM club here. They actually are partnering with us this year, so look out for them, check them out, hit them up if you have any questions. Matthew Basikia is actually someone who I started this club with informally. He's the one that pushed the opportunity towards me. He's very interested in physics and he's pursuing electrical and computer engineering. Evan Pierce, our technical advisor, he has a lot of experience in a lot of technologies and he helps us get through our project, which you'll hear about very soon. Elena Velchanu is our social media and marketing manager. She's responsible for all of the social media and like this slide deck. Right? She's really good at design. Luke Lavalva is also one of our developers, and he's really good at graphic design. If you have any questions about Blender or animation, hit him up. And finally, Colin Lamb is one of our new recruits. He's kind of a jack of all trades, but he's a really fast learner, so we picked him up. Now, I mentioned that this is a Google Developer Student Club, right? And a lot of you are probably here because of that. Who better to explain what that means than the program lead for Developer Student Clubs himself, Madhu Shakur?
Oh, man. Okay, I thought you put a heart around me for a second there. I was like, what? But it's like a pin. Okay. I do have a deck. I'm going to quickly walk you all through it. It'll hopefully complement what he was presenting. 1 second. Okay. Okay, let me know, thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome. Okay, I'm not going to take too much time. I'll hopefully complement what the program is all about. So quickly, I'm Madhu Shakur. I've been with Google for about 2.5 years now. I run 2 programs. One is Google Developer Experts, and then I also support the Developer Student Clubs for North America. Now, when I say North America, it's mainly English-speaking North America, the US, and Canada. So we have about 150 chapters, and then let me give you a quick overview. So one thing I always encourage is code of conduct, be nice to each other. Everybody comes from different backgrounds. Even when you are running meetups, even though it's virtual, be supportive. Yeah, so everybody comes from different backgrounds, different experiences, and that's what we're looking to bring, and we're looking to create different ideas to support each and every one of them. And then the further you go through the presentation, you'll see what I mean. So how did you become a lead? So I'll give you an overview as to what the connection between us and you, the Developer Student Club lead is. So we did have a blast, but we had a ton of applications. We had more than 10,000 applications came in. And then we asked them to share a video of what they do.
Hello, Google.
Can you hear it?
DSC. No, back at me. Back at your DSC and back at me.
Can you hear the video or no?
They aren't me.
Thumbs up.
But they could be if they actually sought out new learning experiences, worked closely with administration, and organized events about inclusivity in STEM. Look down. Back up. Where are you? You're watching a video of me, finding ways to inspire students to get involved on campus and support women in tech, all while studying a degree in software engineering. They could be me, or you could just pick me.
So as you can see, going through all the applications, we didn't just look at what kind of qualifications they have. We also wanted to pay attention to the personality of the individuals. So this was one of my favorite clips one of the students sent from here. So what happened after? After, what we did was we obviously had a few conversations. We interviewed each and every one of them, majority of the applicants. And then we added to our Slack and other communication channels. We went through some training during our summit, so they know how to represent the brand, because you're representing Google. It's a huge corporation. And then how to create a web presence, what kind of content and services we have. And then we also made introductions so they can collaborate with each other. So you'll see other chapters across North America. You're more than welcome to collaborate and put things together, maybe events, maybe work on projects, hackathons, you never know, right? So then we also gave them access to some of our exclusive content portals and access to some of our other communities as well. So in a way, Sarosh is kind of our go-to person, anything related to our communities on campus. So why are we doing this, right? So obviously you were familiar with our brand and you know what the brand stands for. I don't know how much you know about it, but we have so many different divisions, so many different products. So roughly we have about 9 different products that touch 1 billion people each every month or so. Don't quote me on that. I think it might be 10 now, but I think a few things missing here are photos and G Suite and a few other things. So when you have 1 billion people touching all of our products, we realized, for example, North America and South America combined together, that's 1 billion, roughly. 35 different countries, more than a dozen languages, 9 different time zones. And now on top of that, just assume that not everybody is using a Chromebook. Not everybody is using Google Chrome itself. So I'm an Apple user, I'm a Mac user, all our tech, everything that we build have to work on every different platform. Sometimes going back into some of our legacy devices, so infrastructure and all that. So to support this kind of growth, that's why we realized we couldn't do it alone. So we ended up creating this group called Google Developers Community Group. So Developer Student Clubs is a part of Google Developers. So Google Developers are the ones who run. So I don't know whether you're familiar with the graphic here. This is from Cloud Next, Google I/O. So all those events are run by this community group, and then DSC obviously is a part of it. And people who work here come from similar backgrounds of managing communities, being developers, developer advocates, entrepreneurs. So my story, for example, so I worked for BlackBerry before. Those who know what BlackBerry is, I was in the midst of the company is doing really great. I was a mechanical engineer at the time. Then I went and started a few tech companies, switched from hardware to software. And then started building mobile applications. Unfortunately, we realized like we bet on the wrong platforms because we only selected those platforms because that's what we knew. So the 2.5 million app downloads in the first applications, utility apps we did, it was all built on BlackBerry. And then when the platform crashed, everything kind of crashed with it. And then what we realized was there was nobody to kind of reach out. There was no community around it. Even the blogs and the forums are very new. They're not as saturated as it is today, especially when you want to do knowledge share, when you want to bounce things off. So in the second company, it was a little bit different. We did mobile games, hit about 10 million downloads on those. But then the whole industry changed. So we realized that I'm not paying attention to the industry. Freemium went to network-based gaming, so everything changed. But there was a lot of learnings there. So then I took all my learnings from those 2 companies that I was part of, and then I worked for an incubator for about 3 years and worked with about 2,500 different entrepreneurs at different levels. Helped them raise seed and pre-seed capital, collectively about 10 million US dollars. Now for Canada, that's a big number because it's always hard to get the early stage funding. Now some of these companies are gone to build $1 billion businesses. So one thing I realized was so for example, I didn't have the experience, let's say, to comment or advise a medtech company because I don't have a medtech background. So I had to build the network around me and then eventually built a community around about 30,000 developers, experts, entrepreneurs, investors. And then when Google called me out and said, hey, would you like to be a part of our developer community? Kind of a no-brainer. I was able to bring all that skills that and the network I built over the years to quickly plug into this. Now, the interesting thing is you all are young and up and coming, got a lot of energy, and it keeps me driving every day. So you see how busy Slack is. I'm trying to get to the bottom of all those messages. Now, somebody just introduced me to what is it called, Discord, and I'm like debating whether I made the right choice, because I'm going to get pings all the time now, which is fine. It keeps us going. So this is my background, and this is what I was a part of. And majority of the people who work with me, or colleagues who work with me, have similar experiences that we're more than happy to share with all of you. So how does our process work? So we go from one to few to many. One being us, Google, few being your developer student club leads, and then many being you all who are members of it. As you can see, when we do content, when we come up with different tech, we want to share certain campaigns. We leverage our communities to get all you engaged in. As you can see, the arrow goes both ways. And the reason for that is we also want to hear from you all through your Developer Student Club leads, and tell us what's going on with our tech. It can be bugs to different ideas, to things we can fix in the future, or verticals that we didn't even think about. So and then it's all community based, so yeah, it goes both ways. So so as I said, Google Developers, the initiative has other sister organizations. So Google Developer Groups is one of them. I know there's a few good GDG chapters in your area, in your vicinity. I'm more than happy to make introductions in the future. Maybe you're already members of some of those clubs, communities. So the only difference between GDG and DSC is DSC is limited to being a student club. When I say student club, adults can attend some of the events. That's not a problem. But the branding and some of the resources and the campaigns we send out are geared mainly towards university students. But GDG itself, it's open to that community. So if you look at a GDG chapter, you see it being a city-based one. So you'll see we have 3 in Toronto, and there's about more than 1,000 globally, covering 135 or 36 different countries, and they do active events almost every day. So if you want to collaborate on things, you're welcome to do that. I know we've made this huge switch to going virtual, so yeah, take a look and see where you can engage. The other initiative, one of the other initiatives we have when it comes to diversity and inclusion, is we have Women Tech Makers. This is geared towards anybody who's interested in getting into the tech space and then identify themselves as a woman. We have other initiatives supporting diversity, and this is just one of them. Take a look. There's a whole list of them, and then more than happy to answer any questions if you have. The other program I told you early on that I was a part of and that I'm managing is the Google Developer Expert program. So we realized there are smart people everywhere, and then there are people who work for other organizations who are as equally as versed in some of our tech, are Google Developer Experts. So they are cloud experts, Android experts, Flutter, you name it. They are the ones who answer majority of the questions, and I'll guarantee you this on Stack Overflow if you were to ask Google-related question. And we look at some of those stats, and we have some of our GDEs ranked at the uppermost influences on Stack Overflow. So we have this community, and what they do is we send them certain content, we add them to our beta programs and things like that. In return, they help and evangelize by becoming speakers, mentoring the next generation of developers through our Google Developer Groups, or even Google Developer or DSC Developer Student Clubs. So another great group. If you're ever looking for a speaker, this is a good network to tap into. So yeah, they're spread across the globe, more than 800 members, and then some of them write regularly. Some of them do blog posts, some of them do videos, tutorials, a lot of those. You can find all their resources if you were to do a quick Google search. So where do you fit in from this whole thing? So we have Google Developer Groups, WTM, and GDEs, and we see you being the future GDE leads, GDE Google Developer Experts, WTM members, and Google Developer Group leads as well, and members as well. So that's how I would pitch. I would give you a quick sense as to where you fit into this whole ecosystem. So that would be it. So why you're here? I think he mentioned this earlier. So the way I would put it is, our philosophy is very interesting, high level, very high level. We want to increase awareness, and when I say awareness, everything technology touches everything you do today. You might be a computer science student, you might be a math student, you might be a business student. But if I can show you a little bit how to do your job better, how to help you upskill yourself, I think there's value there. But the issue is, a lot of these students don't get exposed to this. So when you have your business friend and when they ask, where are you going? I'm going to the DSC thing, invite them. Even though they might say, hey, I'm not a programmer, that's fine. We want to see different ideas. We want to see different backgrounds come in together. Even like somebody listed music and computer science. I think that's a great blend, right? There's so many things you can do, especially with some of these new technologies we're coming out with. And then we want to give access. We want to increase accessibility to some of these technologies. So for example, cloud study jams that we're going to plan to run, you'll get access to our GCP instances for about an hour, and you play with the actual thing live while you're training. And then we have other great content and resources available. And then we want to educate you. Either your DSC lead is going to take the lead on that. You have technical leads who might take the lead on that. And then we have other series that we're going to do collectively throughout the region that you can join. On top of that, you'll get access to streams from Google Cloud Next to IOs and things like that as well. So we want to help you educate. And hopefully once you learn all these cool things, you'll go build some things that you're passionate about, problems that you really want to solve. And then it might be from your neighborhood, something that you experienced, or an idea you had. And then we'll hopefully help you to showcase those as well. So again, in a nutshell, we're going to support your chapter. We're going to help you run workshops and learn different things, build some of those projects, and then we're going to help you showcase some of them to your communities. And then I'll tell you how you can get to the global scale as well. So Solution Challenge, for example, is one of those initiatives we run on the second half of the year. So kickstart in January. That doesn't mean if you have an idea, you should start work on it. That's not a problem. We do have some rules around this. I have, if you were to search for Solution Challenge, you'll find all those rules around it. And then what happens is, actually, I do have a clip. So let me see. So yeah, so then we select 10 teams. They go through a selection process from all the submissions. Last year, we were planning to bring them to California and get them to present live in front of some of our Googlers, but it didn't work out because of COVID. So this year we did it virtually, and the video is available online if you're willing to take a look at. Very interesting ideas, very interesting projects, and hopefully we can see some of them coming from your community as well. So what's the benefit? We don't charge anything. Then you will hopefully get to work on some, I don't know. I advise my DSC leads not to charge anything. If he's charging you something, let me know. He's smiling right now. So you'll hopefully get to work on interesting projects, real hands-on things. This will help you boost your resume and skill levels. And then, yeah, you get access to all our Google credits, badges, and things like that. Yeah. And so yeah, one last thing. I know there's put out a lot there, and then you already have very busy lives. You have school, you have personal lives, and we're stuck at home. So make sure whatever you do, find the time and make sure to have enough fun doing it. Otherwise there's no point of doing this. So keep that in mind. And that being said, that's all I have. I'm happy to take any questions. You just can unmute and ask it directly, or you can put it on the chat. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Madhusha. Does anybody have any questions for him before we move on? Don't be shy. Yes, there should be a recording of this.
Are you recording this right now?
Yeah.
Okay. You need to disclose that in the beginning. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
This presentation is being recorded. Okay.
Madhusha, those slides are available on the Elite platform, right?
These slides are no, man. These are copyrighted. You
Oh,
gotta
okay.
bring the to it. So, but no, there's a video of me doing a very similar presentation online available. But then all the other resources that we have for you are also on the portal as well.
Right.
And
and
the resources tab.
Somebody who's speaking? Okay. All the slides that I'm going to present or that are going to happen at workshops and things like that will also be posted for ease of access.
Will there be slide decks? Now, when you say slide decks, are you talking about, Todd, if you want to unmute and elaborate a little bit, you mean like if you're running a workshop, slide decks, or? Okay, so I'm going to assume if you're running a workshop, yes. So depending on the campaign, you will get, first of all, you're going to get train the trainer type of work training. So it might be an Android workshop that will first send you some material that you can go through, how to present yourself and how to present it to the community. And then those resources will be coming through your lead as well. Then the other thing I always encourage is there's a lot of resources available within the community itself. So always be open to collaborate with them. There are other DSC leads from the past year who are really good at some of these things that you can definitely collaborate on. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm just gonna, so we're doing a live event today, this evening at 7 p.m. It's going to be a panel discussion between 6 DSC leads who got internships at Google, Amazon, Microsoft, NASA, Apple, and I think I forgot one. Facebook. How can I forget?
All right. So I've got a few more things to talk about here, and I'll just resume where I left off, right? So I want to talk a little bit about what this club looks like at Rowan, right? So this club's operations have 2 primary components, right? We have projects and we have events, right? So projects are weekly Scrum-based code sprints, right? Dedicated to solving a community problem that's running through the club. And I'll talk a little bit more about how those problems come to us in a little bit, but I used a buzzword. Right? What's up?
You need to present your slides.
I didn't hit present. I'm sorry. I thought I did. My apologies. Awkward. I'll start over. Let's pretend I never said that. All right, so I want to talk a little bit more about what this club looks like at Rowan. So there are 2 primary operations for this club at Rowan. We have projects and we have workshops, right? Projects are weekly Scrum-based code sprints dedicated to solving community problems that come through the club, right? So I'll talk a little bit more later about how these problems come to the club and how we select them, but I used a bit of a buzzword there, Scrum, right? Some of you may have heard of Scrum, but basically this is just a paradigm that allows you to code in groups, right? There are 3 roles in a Scrum framework. There's a product owner, a Scrum master, and a developer. Product owners are basically people that talk to clients. They figure out what needs to happen. The Scrum master breaks out how those tasks are going to get completed, and then developers actually write them. Now, this is a little loose in the framework of this club because it's pretty small time. Understand that on large teams, Scrum masters and product owners aren't developers, but in this club, everybody's a developer. It's a developer student club. And this is more meant to make sure that like we actually have an output of for our projects, right? And I want to emphasize that last point, right? Projects are where you practice your skills, right? They're the backbone of this club, and they're the thing that the club is really overall meant to be focused towards, right? And events are basically ways for you to grow your skills. They're networking opportunities. They're ways for you to collaborate with your peers, right? Now, everyone is welcome in this club, right? Members of all backgrounds are welcome. You can come to our events. You can learn any skill you want. You're free to give us feedback. But we're also hoping for some more experienced people to come out of our events or to join the club to help with our projects, right? I mentioned some workshops, right? Workshops consist of language workshops, tech workshops, Cloud Hero, study jams, and hackathons, things that Madhusha touched on, but I'll go over them a little bit here as well. Tech workshops are a little different from language workshops in that they involve teaching a Google technology. So for example, Firebase or Flutter, right, or TensorFlow. And Cloud Hero is basically a gamified way to teach cloud computing, right? And study jams are what they sound like. You bring your work to the club and we do it in a club setting, right? Now, as per our survey, we collected some data from all of you. We wanted to find out what you're interested in learning, and Python won by a lot, right? Well, our next workshop is on October 14th. The time will be announced soon, but we will be teaching Python. You can RSVP to that right here using your phone if you have it. If not, we'll distribute it through the Discord and our email channels. But yeah, we ask for some how good you are at Python right now, like what your skills look like, so we can cater our event a little bit better for you. Right, now there's also some more events that I want you guys to know about. Madhusha touched on the internship panel tonight at 7 p.m. And we also will be collaborating with a few other DSCs to do a Dart and Flutter weekly series starting October 1st from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. This will occur, there are 3 events, 1 week apart, on how to get started with Dart and Flutter. For those of you who don't know what that is, app development, right? Now, attending events that aren't centric to Rowan it involves a little bit of a different process. So Google has kindly given us a community events platform. You can visit this link or you can use this QR code, but basically, I ask that all of you register with this community platform so that you can get access to those events and RSVP directly. Events also, of course, will be announced, and this link will be, I'm going to inundate you with this link. You'll get it a lot, right? There's other ways to register as well, right? Finally, we also have a Google Speaker Series. They also provide us with a platform for how to get experts in certain fields to come and talk to us, right? We're probably going to do a few events like that as well. And finally, coding challenges, right? So like hackathons. With everything being virtual, it's very easy to collaborate among other developer student clubs, right? So Hack DSC is scheduled for around April 24th, and it's supported by Major League Hacking, right? We're going to push this a lot more in the spring, but look out for that as well. And Madhusha touched on the solution challenge, right? So this club is dedicated to turning theory into practice, right? Solving community problems with software solutions. The solution challenge is kind of like the biggest way we do that via this club, right? So in some sense, I think during my interview, one of the ways this club could be phrased is a way for you to train to submit a solution challenge proposal, right? But also, we're also doing projects through the club ourselves, right? My hope is that this club will have at least 1 or 2 submissions for the DSC Solution Challenge. For example, right now, we ourselves are working with a Rowan entity, the Food Recovery Network, to build a progressive web app. And you'll hear more about that as we continue. Now, if you're interested in joining us for projects, feel free to contact the Rowan Developers email, rowandevelopers@gmail.com, or our Discord. Visit our website for any more contact links. And does anybody have any questions, right? For me or Madhusha, if he's still here. Yeah. Jen, I just saw your question in the chat. There is a record of past projects and winners. I don't know if anybody answered that.
So what is, I know you kind of touched on internships and stuff. So as a senior, the opportunities for internship is kind of past at this point. So kind of what does it look like for the seniors here who are looking at full-time jobs?
Excellent question. Okay, so if you are an experienced developer, let me just put it like that, right? And you're not necessarily looking for networking opportunities anymore, and you're not necessarily trying to grow your knowledge base, I encourage you to join one of our project teams with us, right? So that is a great way to get your name on the board, and those projects can go directly onto your resume. So I would recommend that you join our project teams if you're a senior or somebody that has a lot of experience. If we have any,
Thanks.
no problem. If you have any way to contact Madusha. Madusha, can I give them an email or should they talk to me directly?
Okay, I'd say talk to your lead.
Okay.
Welcome to follow me on Twitter or something like that when I share other things. Yeah, so that's why. Remember, 1 to few to many.
Yeah.
That's your contact point. And then what Sarosh would do is, I mean, he brings us a lot of feedbacks. Like, for example, the survey he did, what you want to learn, and then I take that feedback and I try to help him out with events like the series, so it takes the pressure off of them organizing everything. And then so once you do, let's say, Python, then we can bring TensorFlow as a Python will be foundation, TensorFlow we can be the layer on top of that. So there are the things that we can do. So I highly recommend talking to your lead. But welcome to follow me on social media and things like that. If I have the bandwidth, I do respond, very active there. Any other questions I can help you answer?
Anyone else?
I do want to add, it was mentioned very slightly in the presentation, but if you guys want to know, the community platform actually has all of the DSC clubs like in the world on it. And if you are interested in attending more events than just the ones that we offer, by registering there, you can see everything that's done in our area or around the world. And since it's virtual, you can join anywhere, and you can go to any talks, workshops, things like that, not just the Rowan ones. So you would actually gain access to quite a bit of resources here.
Right, that's true. Yeah, Jen, you asked about weekly projects. So basically, here's what that would look like, right? If we get projects through the club, right, software that we're going to develop for the community, right, we break that down into teams, and then those teams follow a Scrum framework on a week-to-week basis, right? So it's like a code sprint for that week, right? We encourage that you collaborate, you meet up virtually during that week to talk about the progress that's being made. But it's basically a measure to make sure that work is actually getting done towards the projects. Does that answer your question? Excellent.
I really like the Scrum part because a lot of students have trouble with the project management side when it comes to doing big projects, as well as like DevOps. So we're paying a little bit more attention this year to bring some of those skills. I would love to hear how you all find the Scrum series and any feedback. That would be awesome.
Anyone else?
I'm sorry if this is a redundant question. What kind of, so we're going to be working on projects to benefit the community. Like what kind of prospects do we have for our first projects?
Well, there's a component of that of finding such projects, right? So for example, let me tell you what the core officers and I are working on right now. The Food Recovery Network at Rowan, and I've said this, Manusha said this like a few times now, but the Food Recovery Network at Rowan doesn't have a good interface between donations they collect and people that need the donations, right? They're using like spreadsheets and some really rudimentary techniques. And we are going to build them like a web front end, right? With a database in the background, right? To help with them. And also we want to interface with like other Rowan entities first. So the idea is like grow from small to big, right? So we're going to talk to Rowan entities first, find out if we can help them in any way. Everybody can probably benefit from some software, right? Like, again, awareness. Technology is used everywhere. So, that's kind of an open offer. Some people asked me recently when they joined the Discord, can we do game development? And I was like, I wouldn't, I mean, yeah, I guess we could, right? If we need to, and you can make your own team to do that. I'm not necessarily against it, but yeah, we're looking for anything in our community that we can help with software. That's kind of open-ended.
So I recommend, sorry, Christine, go ahead. Sorry,
no,
Christina.
Chris, continue.
Take a look at, just search for Solution Challenge, read the rules from last year. It'll give you an idea how the rating system and things we kind of broke down. Now, that being said, I don't want you to do a project just to win a competition. I want you to do a project because you're really passionate about what you want to do. And if you happen to win, if you happen to get qualified, great. Yeah, so the other thing is when you sometimes you might have an idea, like for example, gaming, yes. The reason I'm saying yes is if you can incorporate gaming into education, gamified education, gaming taught me a lot when it comes to user experience. Creating those little pinches, improving engagement. That's something every parent is going through right now. Trying to teach their kids virtually, how they go about it. I also did an entrepreneurship series. I'm going to bring that back. I'll definitely loop in all of you. That will give you an idea as to what everybody else is doing. Plus, take a look at the last year's winners. The winning selected team from Berkeley, what they did was they managed to use sensors that you put for EKG sensors and built a whole 3D visualization of somebody's lungs using TensorFlow because they were just fooling around with it and they managed to map it out. So sometimes it's accidental, right? What you're going to be working on. And there's another college here, and this is an idea for you all to explore. You do need your faculty, you might need your faculty support. Some of them were trying to bridge and connect their capstone projects with the solution challenge project. So the capstone project they're working on, see whether they can get submission. So that way you get credit for it, you're working on it, and then you can submit. So there are all these different variations that you can look into.
Right. And Cole, you asked, like, do you need to fully focus on the project, right? And that you're really busy taking senior project and all of that.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So I want to emphasize here, right? It's not that like we assign you to a project and then it's like a homework assignment that you have to work on. It's you're passionate about developing something and you can use the club to help you, right? And of course, school comes first, right? Focus on your studies. We're not trying to like force you into anything, right? But yeah, would you have to fully focus on the project? We want some dedication, but I'm not saying you have to like give up your entire week, you know?
Yeah, like that's what I mean by that, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else? Can feedback or questions be posted in the Discord? Excellent idea. Yeah, I'll do that.
Awesome. If you don't have any more questions, just if you have any questions, direct them to Sarosh, and then he'll probably fill me in anything that we can help out with. That being said, it was awesome to see you all. Stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you this evening at one of our events. That being said, take care.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Our pleasure. See you.
Yeah.